Now you'll get your next tire. It's always a good idea to kind of inspect your tire as well, even if it is brand new. There might be some dirt inside, a little stone or something. It's the worst thing in the world to have that problem after you've done all the work of changing it out. Make sure if it's a used tire that you inspect the bead. If you're putting another used tire on, make sure you don't have a bent bead, broken bead, anything burred, anything catching. I prefer to use a Windex or a glass cleaner project, especially here when you're at the races, because the alcohol in here will dry rapidly. And that way I can put it on and we can go out and ride 5 minutes later and you don't have to worry about it still being wet. Soap or any of the other products will work as well, but it's best to use, if you're going to use soap, to have overnight to let that soap dry so you don't have it slipping on the wheel. There's also many tire manufacturer lubes and stuff. They're all perfectly acceptable. Lube up one side nice. Once again, I want to work with the sprocket side down. Set the wheel up there so you kind of know that you're going to be working with the sprocket side down. Starting 180 degrees away from the rim lock. Tires should fall right on. One of my secrets, I always say, if it's difficult, you're doing something wrong. It's like everything else in life. If you're struggling with it or whatever, it's all technique. And if you think changing tires is hard and you really stress at it, it's really just a matter of adjusting your technique, and you'll find that it's really not that difficult. And take the tube, line it up with the valve hole. I usually put the valve in first, but not all the way into the hole. And then I take and just tuck it around. Once again, you can see the inflated tube here is stopping me and preventing me from twisting it. Be sure that it's nice and tucked in there all the way around. Lined up where it needs to be. Sits down there nice. Double check at the rim lock to make sure that it's free and not on the other side. And just take and flip this in here. The other thing that the inflated tube will help you with is that'll help poke the stem through the hole. I'm left-handed. If you're right-handed, it'd be reversed, but I just gradually put a finger on top here, and then you come to the other side. On this side here, just barely lift up, and you'll see the valve will just fall right in the hole. That's another thing. If you're struggling, it's just a matter of technique. It's not really, there's no trick to it. It should go right in there. The half-inflated tube helps with that. Once you've got it in there, once again, double check that it's down all the way. Take a peek in there. Make sure your rim lock is free. Lube up the top side. If it's been a long time since you started the process and the other side might be dry, it's always worth it. You can never put too much lube on to flip it over and re-lube the bottom side. One of the downfalls of using a Windex or something is it does dry pretty quick. So if you got distracted, a phone call or something came up, lube the other side. Now, I prefer to start at the rim lock. I lift it up, make sure it's free, put the first tire iron in at the rim lock. Take a small bite on each side of the rim lock, and I'm using my hand to kind of force the bead and hold the bead down in. Once I've got one on each side, then I'll take the tire iron at the rim lock off, and I use what's called a bead buddy. This is one of the handiest things on the market. The bead buddy slips in, holds the bead, kind of attaches to the spoke, prevents it from coming back and flipping back out. Now you've got your other hand free. You don't have to worry about the tire unmounting as you're mounting it. So then it's just a process of taking the tire irons, swapping them out, flipping them over one or two. When you come to the valve, it's always good to make sure that it's free. If it pushes in and out free, you know you don't have it twisted, you know you don't have it hung up. Just keep going around till you get about 2/3 on, and you'll see it starts to get a little more difficult. You need to push this down and make sure it falls into the dish. By applying a little bit of pressure here, when it falls down in, it'll stay down in. And once you get down to the last 4 or 5 inches or whatever, usually you can just take one tire iron and flip it. If you're just starting out, you might want to put a second one in before you even try, because then when this one goes over, you're not struggling to get the second one in and it just falls right on. Once again, if you're struggling, possibly you need to find a different technique.